Hello friends, and welcome to Escaping the Mouse with your host, me, Breck Roll. Alright, I'm going to do another episode of Bytes and Nibbles with Breck today. Now, I'm actually going to prepare two things, but I'm only going to actually show you one thing. You may recall that in the past I made my mom's lasagna for you. If you haven't, it was episode 224. I'm going to go do that one again, but I'm not going to show you that because, you know, if you want to go watch it, you can go watch episode 224. It's still back there. But since it's sort of a tradition at my family that we have lasagna every Christmas night, I decided, since this is going to be my first year of Christmas not with my family, that I'm going to make it myself and going to enjoy that. So I'm going to prepare that, but I'm also going to prepare something else. And there's a little story behind that, so I want to tell you about that. You may recall about a month ago I made my grandmother's cranberry and pineapple two-layer Jello dessert for Thanksgiving. Now I knew I wanted to do that, and I talked to my mom about getting the recipe, and she said, yeah, no problem, I'll send you the recipe. And a couple days later I got an email from her with the recipe. Now, right before I shot the video, I had a couple questions about the recipe because I was looking at it a little bit more closely. And I called her and asked her, and she says, well, I didn't actually find the recipe. I produced this one from memory. The recipe is actually in my recipe box, which is in the garage, which she couldn't get to. So she was hoping that at some point my sister would be able to arrive and go through the garage and find the recipe, but she had, you know, kind of just written the recipe for me from memory. So we were actually lucky that it actually turned out all right. And now that I've actually received the hard copy recipe, she actually nailed it. So anyway, about 3 or 4 days ago, I got a package in the mail from her with all sorts of recipes that she's been preparing for my sister and my father and myself since we were all kids. Well, you know, except for when my father was a kid, you get that. But from way back when, you know, a lot of these recipes were, you know, came from other family members, many of them who aren't even alive anymore, and they're handwritten in their own hand. So this is like a little treasure trove that that arrived at my place a couple days ago, and I decided I wanted to try one of my family's recipes. This one is a recipe from my Aunt Sally, and it's called just simply cheese potatoes. And I remember having this a bunch of times as a kid, and it's really good, and I'm looking forward to trying it myself, and I'm going to show you, and we're going to go along together. So let's take a look at this. Yeah, these are all the recipes I received. Now, a lot of them were really deteriorated. They've been used a lot. They've been, you know, they got ingredients from past recipes, you know, all over them, so they're stained and all that. So I wanted to try and keep these in as good a shape as I could. So what I did is I put them all in individual plastic sheet protectors, and I'll probably put them like in a 3-ring binder or something. But I looked at this one right off the bat, and I realized this is the one I wanted to try first. So this is my Aunt Sally. It's in her own writing, I believe. Actually, no, that might be my mom's writing. I don't know. But she wrote Sally on the top because, you know, so we know who it's from. And this is what we're going to do, the cheese potatoes. And these are our ingredients. First off, we're going to start off with some hash brown potatoes. It says hash brown potato chunks. I suppose you could use slices or even like the grated stuff if you want. But I got the chunks. It's going to be some cheddar cheese. I like a sharp cheddar cheese, so I just got some cheddar cheese from the deli. Some onion, a little onion, some butter, salt, sour cream, garlic powder, cream of chicken soup, and last but not least, some corn flakes. So I've emptied a 2-pound package of hash brown potatoes into a large mixing bowl, and I'm just going to add in the butter that I melted. I kind of nuked it a little bit in the microwave to make it soft. And this is actually margarine, not butter. I know maybe there's not a huge distinction, but let's be accurate, right? And I'm just going to kind of mix it all together. I need 3 hands to do that, so bear with me. I'm sure you can use your imagination what it looks like to stir potatoes in butter. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add in the other ingredients. So once we have the butter and the potato mixture mixed up really well, we're going to just stir in the rest of the ingredients. That's a teaspoon of salt and a pinch of garlic powder, a can of Campbell's cream of chicken soup, half a cup of onions sliced up really finely, some cheddar cheese, 8 ounces in this case, and a 16-ounce container of sour cream. And then I'm just going to kind of all mix it together. Let it all get mixed up. Gonna have to do this a little slow. I could probably use a slightly larger mixing bowl, but that's okay. We'll make this work. This is working. Just make sure everything gets kind of mixed in together. Just like that. And then I'm going to place all that in either a 9x13 casserole dish or a 3-quart casserole dish. I don't have a 3-quart casserole dish, but I got this nice 9x13, so we're going to use that. And then we're just going to put this aside for a couple of minutes while we prepare the topping. The topping is basically the rest of the butter and the cornflakes. So the recipe says you're going to top the potato combination in here with the mixture of the butter and the cornflakes, but it doesn't really say how you mix the butter and the cornflakes. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of make this up as I go along. I'm going to combine the butter and the cornflakes and kind of do it the same way I would put butter on popcorn. Basically, I'm just going to pour the butter into the thing, going to cover it, and just kind of shake it around until everything gets nice and coated. Alright, that actually worked pretty well. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to combine this or pour it on top of my potato mixture. We'll get a little rubber scraper out and we'll kind of smooth that off so it's a nice solid surface and kind of covers everything but doesn't have big chunks sticking up. I think that's going to work good. Let's get it all kind of stirred in together there. And I think that's about ready to go. Next thing we're going to do is pop this thing in the oven. Now I know some of you are asking, wait, no jalapenos, no hot sauce, no crushed red peppers. Who are you and what have you done with Breck? I'm still here, trust me. This is just, I'm going to leave this the way it is. I always like to do these things normal the first time, and then I can augment it in the future. Now normally you would preheat the oven at the very beginning of the process because then by the time you got everything prepared, the oven's ready to go. And as you know, I usually don't preheat the oven ahead of time because when I'm doing a vlog and cooking, it takes a little longer. So I'm preheating now, but normally you'd do that at the beginning. Alright, the oven's up to 350, and so I'm going to place the whole mixture in the oven, and we're going to cook it uncovered for between 75 and 90 minutes at 350 degrees. See you in a little over an hour. Alright, we passed the 75-minute mark a few minutes ago. I decided to give it a little bit more time, and now we got about 5.5 minutes before the 90-minute mark, and I think we're probably actually going to stop right now. I noticed earlier on there was a lot of bubbling and all that, and the bubbling seems to have stopped, so I think a lot of the liquid has like evaporated away. So I'm going to actually bring this thing out now, and we're going to give it a taste test. I gotta say right off the bat though, that looks pretty tasty, and if you actually listen, you can still hear it bubbling a little bit. So we didn't cook off all the liquid, but give it a couple minutes to rest here, and then we're going to give this a taste test. Alright, it's time for that all-important taste test. Yeah, that brings back a lot of memories. I've had that a lot of times. Now, I was actually thinking when I was preparing this that you could probably very easily substitute the corn flakes on the top for like salted potato chips, and that would probably be pretty good too. So that might be a modification I would make, but other than that, this is really, really good. I'm glad I tried this. I'm very happy to have all these old recipes from my mom, and I'll definitely be showing some more of them to you at some point. So I will include this recipe in the description below this video. I will definitely try this recipe again, recommend that you do it also. This is my Aunt Sally's cheesy potatoes recipe, and it's been a kind of a staple at my family for a long, long time, and I hope you'll enjoy it too. So I think that's all that I have for today. Thank you as always for watching, and I'll see you next time on Escaping the Mouse. Bon appetit!